So I'm Edward Abraham. I'm Dean and Chief Academic Officer here at the University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. So the responsibilities are over really the triple mission of an academic medical center. So I'm responsible for our educational programs, primarily the medical student education. Graduate medical education also feeds up to the dean, so that's our residency programs, fellowship programs as well. The research enterprise here at University of Miami, so basic science and clinical research, how we do clinical trials. And then I'm also the chair of the board for our practice plan, our 1100 physician practice plan. So all of the professional activities of our faculty in terms of delivering patient care, that's also a responsibility. But the students are actually here. So I just had a meeting with the students this morning, the student leadership group. So really the only break for medical students is between the first and second year. They get the summer off, and many of them do research. But then starting at the end of the second year, they start doing clinical rotations. So they're here year-round, really. So it doesn't slow down. It's not like the undergraduate campus in a big way. So there, of course, you have a summer session where there are many fewer students, different kinds of classes. Here it's just year-round. In terms of research and clinical care, it doesn't slow down at all in the summer either. So typical days have been, I can think about today, it was meeting with a group of faculty from the Miami Project, which is this wonderful research project that's been focused on paralysis, what one can do to help treat paralysis, prevent after a terrible accident, how one can help protect the patient from the sequelae of that so that there are less severe neurologic outcomes, less severe paralysis or no paralysis. For patients who have paralysis, what's the chance of actually regrowing neurons so that that can be helped? So I met with the faculty, met with the students this morning. I'll meet with a number of our chairs later in the day from the clinical departments and basic science departments. And it's really to try and put together a strategic vision for the institution to make sure that it functions as well as possible for them. It's a highly supportive environment in terms of helping our faculty reach their goals in terms of clinical care and education and research. So it's really trying to get together as much as I can with groups of faculty, groups of students, and really develop a shared vision of the way forward for them. So we're going through a research strategic planning process at the present time to think about what programs that we have that are highly innovative, highly impactful, and that with key investments can be even more so. Key investments in infrastructure, key investments in faculty recruitments to try and bring the skill sets to campus. And as we develop the research strategic plan, we're also thinking about the clinical strategic plan. How can we develop destination programs where we offer novel therapies to patients who come here, be able to attract patients locally, regionally, nationally, internationally for the unique services offered at the University of Miami? And we have programs like that at the present time. There are about 7,000 international patients that come here every year. Could be far more. And so the plan for the next several years is really to grow this kind of strategic vision, to harness optimal value from what we're doing in research, bring these novel therapies, novel understanding of disease and disease processes to the patients we serve, and really be able to advance medicine, biomedical knowledge, but in particular to be able to advance how we care for patients. So my background is actually in intensive care and critical care medicine. So when I was at UCLA, which was my first faculty position, I was head of critical care services there, but was a practicing full-time physician in the medical intensive care unit. And I continued those kind of activities when I was at University of Colorado and even at University of Alabama. But as the administrative responsibilities became greater and greater, I had to reduce the clinical time. So when I was chair of the Department of Medicine, internal medicine at UAB, really had to decrease the clinical time. When I went to Wake Forest as dean, there just wasn't enough time for that. So it was a gradual, it wasn't like a single step, all of a sudden, stop doing it. Yeah, mentorship has always been incredibly important. So research mentorship during my own training. I've had a wonderful string of mentors who have actually helped advance my research career, but then helped advance my administrative career. The chair of medicine at the University of Colorado, Bob Schreier, an international leader in kidney disease, was a wonderful chair. Grew the department in terms of its clinical activities, its research activities, its prestige. I was the vice chair in that department of medicine, so he was absolutely fabulous. When I went to UAB, the dean there, Bob Rich, was a wonderful dean as well. I knew him because my research had been in immunology. He was the editor of the Journal of Immunology, and I was on the editorial board, and was just fabulous in terms of being a role model for what a communicative dean could be like, who kept institutional priorities in mind. And then that's continued. It was certainly true at Wake Forest as well. Well, I think what we accomplished, I can think about on multiple levels. Most recently, what we accomplished at Wake was, there are a number of those. We moved into a new medical education building. It's in an old R.J. Reynolds tobacco factory. Those were given to us downtown, so they're historic tax credits. So we were able to take one of those, which was actually where the tobacco came into the complex, and turn it into this remarkable building for the medical school. Next to it was the biggest research building, new research building at Wake Forest, about 300,000 square feet. And the same kind of thing, this transformation with some irony, because we go from one side of health, tobacco and cigarettes, to medical discovery, medical education on the other side. And I think that was great. Spent a lot of time working on the curriculum at Wake Forest as well. Came up with a very novel, individually based curriculum where students we could take it, be aware of their individual learning styles and really individualize the curriculum for them. So that was important as well.